Are you the boy in the black dress?
Yeah, so shall I talk about that? I love that song.
Yeah.
It was like, I remember a writer that I did Fleabag with, a guy I met called All Day, who was the craziest like East Coastist hippie you've ever met. It's like a guy who was born on the East Coast, looks like a surfer. And that's like, you know what I mean? And he's just like, and he's like, he loves punk music, he loves Pearl Jam, he loves like that. He's very like hard to the pavement, but likes to write pop music. And he sends me this song. He sends me songs sometimes, and I don't really take pitch songs. I'm not. The thing about it is, for a song for me, I've got to have written it, or be a part of the process, or be a part of the birth of it, to be able to. Because my songs are my soul.
Yeah, it's an extension of
you. You know what I mean? It's an extension of my energy. That's it. And the thing for me is like, I love people around me. I love having like mates in the studio, even if I got to give them publishing. I'm like, I love people around me.
It's energy.
'Cause it's just fucking a feeling. I don't give a shit. People can get so dialed in. I'm like, oh yeah, man. There's like 4 writers on that. I'm like, yeah, we had a great fucking night. I'm down, and they deserve to be there, even if they were just vibing. That's the way I like it to be.
Yeah, they contributed something
they contribute
to
the energy of the feeling of the song.
Yeah.
So I'm down. That's what songwriting is to me. It's not like, well, I wrote that word and you wrote that. And it's like, bollocks. It's like, if you were there, fuck it. You birthed the song. But All Day sends me a song called The Boy in the Black Dress. And I was like, whoa, that title's crazy. Because he was like, I wrote this with you in mind. Because obviously, I wear skirts and whatever. And I don't like to confine myself to fashion in terms of gender, because that's just bollocks. But it was like, I've written this, and the song didn't really speak to me when he sent me it, but the title did. I was like, yo, can I take the title? And obviously I'll cut you in on the song, because you birthed the idea, right? So I walk up to Glendale. Have I told you I wrote it in Glendale, the album?
No.
Oh, fucking hell, shit.
Right over here.
Like Glendale here in California?
Yeah.
Oh.
So basically, after to cut a long story short, I'm sorry, this is going to be a nightmare to cut around, because I'm like, this is my head, but it's fun. It's like, I had every studio, because Weird went #1, so I had every studio ever available to me. And then I'm like in the studio with like artists, right, and everyone's listening to your secrets. And people come in and like, oh, you're doing that rock thing. I'm like, fuck off.
Well, that was smart.
That's a direct quote.
That was so perfect.
I'm not going to tell you who said that. Was like, oh, you're doing that rock thing. I'm like, fuck off. Doing the rock thing. What are you talking about? What?
You could probably throw out 3 names. I'd
You know
probably
what I
get
mean?
it.
Yeah, literally, it's fine. Like, at home, you probably can tell who it was. Think about a massive producer in the world. It works out Conway. Who said that? That's all you're getting. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, we have got to leave. We have got to leave now. I'm doing that rock thing. Okay, fine. Go to I'm like, right, fuck the studios. We're making it in a bedroom in Chris's house.
Sick.
In Glendale. Over the hill with the flies. You know what I'm
rock
saying?
and roll.
That's what I'm fucking doing. Because I was like, it needed that. I was in America and I missed the UK. And it needed that American UK sound.
Yeah.
It needed to be fucking UK as fuck, but I couldn't get back to the UK. So I'm going to go, where am I going to go? To a bedroom.
That's
Glendale.
I'm going to go to a damp bedroom in Glendale.
with flies.
With flies.
Oh, sick.
And I'm down. I fucking loved it. You know what I'm saying? I'm in Glendale. Right?
By the way, like a real recording studio like delivers like producers and artists like freshly baked cookies.
This is what I'm saying. I couldn't fucking handle that. It was literally just like, yo, sir, do you want another sparkling water? I'm like, get out! Get out! I don't want berries. I want flies in Glendale and sweat and fucking the neighbour complaining and a gunshot in the background. You know what I mean? Fucking America, man. And then I'm like in Glendale. So like The Boy in the Black Dress, the title has been given to me, and I go to Glendale. And I get to Glendale that day, get down, got a cold brew in my hand. So I just drink cold brew in America. Never do that at home, but whatever. You guys like kings of the cold brew. Fucking got a cold brew to get wired, to give me the inspiration. And I'm like, yo, I was listening to the Smiths came on, the Headmaster's Ritual. And before Morrissey was a dickhead, He was just the best lyricist ever. And then it all went a bit fucking weird. You know what I mean? And I just thought it was fucking phenomenal in the Smiths. The way he told the stories, and I was like, I want to tell my life story in a song, and I want to call it The Boy in the Black Dress. And I was writing the record mostly with Matty was involved, Chris Griotti, a guy called Jake Torrey, and a guy I met in a Thai restaurant who used to work in a Thai restaurant called Jordan Gable, right? And I met this guy in a Thai restaurant who lives with Chris. And he used to work at, Night Market in LA.
Yeah, of course.
Fucking shout out Night Market.
Yeah. Which one, Sunset or
Sunset?
Venice?
And he was working the Sunset one, but I love the Venice one too.
Both.
You know what I mean? Wherever you are, which side of town. Shout out Night Market. Better get free food after this. And I met him in a Thai fucking restaurant. And he was just like, I met him and I had a great conversation with him. And he's just an intellectual. Like, he reads Karl Marx and shit and talks about like Kurt Vonnegut. And I'm like, cool. Wow.
So
Sick.
what does he contribute to this session?
So, lyrically on this album, this kid sat across from me as an intellectual and went, am I impressed? And it was fucking great because I'm a performer. I love people in the studio. And he's like, you can say that better. 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 And I'm like, fuck you. Yeah, I can. And then he'll throw a mental word out there. And like, this is what I always say to him. He's so uncensored and unfiltered. It's beautiful. Because he'll just be like, what about this? And I'm like, that is the worst idea I've ever heard. But then he'll say like, what about this? And I'm like, oh my God, that's fucking genius.
Yeah, it takes the shitty to get to the great.
That's what I'm saying. But he's looking at me. Yeah. And the way on this album he was brilliantly beautiful was I was writing opposite someone who would critique my words when this album came out. You know what I mean? He reads books, he's intellectual, he cuts through the bullshit, and he pushed me to really, lyrically, be my best on this album. And it was beautiful. I remember with The Boy in the Black Dress, I was like, right, I'm going to tell my story. And I want to talk about like the inner child kind of going like, was it all worth it? Was it worth the pain? Was it worth the bullshit that came with it to be the boy in the black dress? Was it worth it? And kind of speak metaphorically about that song. And it started, I just was like, I'm going to tell the story about each moment in my life when something significant happened. The first time I got punched in the face. The first time I got a teacher told me that nail polish was for girls. The first time I had casual sex. The first time I experienced hate like never before. And the moment I came down from that horrible cloud. You know what I mean? And it's almost like those moments in life when your brain registers it. You can't quite feel it. It's like, have you ever been hit in the face before?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You get that thing where your brain knows something mental's happened, but you can't process it. But it makes you grow up a lot. It makes you grow up a year in a second, as an animal, as a person. And I remember like me and Jordan were literally at the side running round this bungalow, just writing this story. And he's like, no, you can say that better. Make me feel it. Like, it was like a fucking drama exercise. You know what I mean? He's like, we're weirdos. But he's brilliant because he's like, it's a fucking exercise. Yeah. He's like, you can say that better. Put me there. Put me in that fucking thing. What did it feel like? And it's like, well, and I'm like, well, masculinity seems to hurt a lot the first time you feel it in your jaw. And he's like, yes. And I'm like, fuck. And it's like this thing where someone's prodding me because I kicked the bear, but the bear's kicking me.
That's it.
And I'm like, ah, you know what I mean, for the first time, and it was cool as fuck to meet a writer because Chris isn't like that. Chris is a musician who pulls everything together and keeps me energized and keeps me burrowing. Matty Schwartz fundamentally helped me find my soul as a writer. And then this new kid on the block comes in and he's like testing my words and like the way I speak. So I've got a group of people around me basically beating the shit out of me.
But that's how you get better.
To get me to make me pour my soul out and to get to obtain this feeling. And I think like with this record, like I don't know, I think if you want to, it's like a podcast about me in the way that I wanted to make it a universal idea of a feeling and a spirit. You know what I mean? It's like a lot of the words like, I've been dancing at my funeral. I can't keep holding my breath. God forbid you leave me like all the rest did. I'm in love again, but tomorrow I'll be sad. I wish I could let go of all the memories. I feel like I'm going mad. It's those statements that are so that you can put that in your mouth and go, like the loudest moment in the show at the minute is nobody came. What a shame, shame, shame. Because the part in the funeral, it's like everyone feels like no one's going to turn up to the funeral, but wait, I'm around 10,000 people. They're all here. Fuck yeah. You know what I mean? That's that's coming out of this album. And as I say, I think a lot of people expected me to make like a pop punk record on this album. And I love that. And I love that time when we, you know what I mean, when that happened. But I needed to push somewhere else. Because the spirit of what I was feeling was not within that. It was within this melancholy, happy, sad, British album.